In this chess video, I am going to share you the 4 best chess openings that you must know, and if you have started learning chess or you are a beginner and you get confused that which opening you must start to play, then this video is best for you. Here we look for the very first opening as white, and that is the London system. So London system probably begins with playing d4, developing the bishop, playing e3, then c3, creating a pawn chain that you can see with the bishop out. You can develop your knight, develop your another knight, play bishop to d3, and now you can see that you created a pyramid of pawn. Also, both of your knights are developed. Your bishop are attacking along a long open diagonal that you can see here, and you can castle on the king side and can make your safe position. So this is how actually the London system looks like. White replies with d4, black plays d5, then we come with bishop to f4 as we discussed by developing the bishop. Then comes knight to f6, playing a normal development move. Now comes e3, creating a open position for another bishop. Now comes e6, then we play c3 as we discussed. Once again, this is the London system setup with the bishop out, creating a pyramid of pawns. And now, if black plays bishop to d6, then don't worry. You don't need to exchange even. And don't make a mistake by playing knight over here or knight developing your knight. Since he can take this bishop and you will lose a central pawn. So you must take the bishop back. And if black captures, then capture from the x pawn and you have created a open file for the rook. Going back in this position, black doesn't reply with d6 and instead he plays bishop to e7. Then what you must do? Simply begin with development of your knight. Then black plays knight to c6 and then comes bishop to d3. Now you can see that we have created an open file. We have created an open diagonal for our bishops that you can see over here. And this is the main logic of playing London system. I will be telling you more about this. Here black begins with castling, then we develop another knight. Now here we reach the final part of London system. We have created a pyramid of pawn. We have developed both of the bishop attacking along a very sharp diagonal, and we have the knights creating the control on the center. So this is what all are the advantages. And now the advantage of playing Lantern system is that you have created all your pieces attacking towards the enemy king, which is a very nice advantage. And the next move you can play queen to c2 and can attack along a deadly diagonal towards the x7 pawn, which is the weak pawn for your enemy king that you can see. Also, you can create a pawn storm by pushing these pawns forward and can attack your enemy king. And if you are a beginner or you really have started playing chess, so you must play normal by doing castling, developing your queen, attacking along the deadly diagonal, and play normal as you know. Now we all discussed about the positional opening that was by playing d4. And if you are an attacking player, then this is what you must try. So this begins with playing e4, black replies the e5, which is the common reply that you see. Now comes knight to f3. Main problem is that it is attacking the pawn, so it is to be protected by knight to c6. Now comes bishop to b5 attacking the knight. This is the Ruy Lopez opening. And this opening for white is the best opening that you can play. Even many of the grandmasters that you see also prefer to play this opening. Now comes knight to f6. Now comes castling. In this position, what we must do is focusing on king safety. No matter if black can capture our free pawn or not. Let us say black captured a free pawn, then there are two options that you can try. First of all, we can play rook to e1, which is a very important thing that you must understand, because rook to e1 helps in attacking the knight as well as the pawn on the same time. So if knight goes to d6 attacking the bishop, don't worry for your bishop. Immediately take the free pawn. And in this position, the main reply is that black will be capturing the knight and we will be capturing from the rook. Black will be playing bishop to e7. This will be your make a reply from many of the players. But in this position, if black becomes greedy and without thinking for a second, he decides to capture the bishop, then black's gone, because we can capture the knight. Now it is giving a check. Also, it is attacking the queen at the same time. So you can see that in this position, playing rook to e1 was a nice move. And in this position, there is the second move that you can try, that is playing d4. Now, why we play d4 in this position? Let's look on it. Here, black plays knight to d6, attacking the bishop. So, we capture the knight, and black also captures back. Now, we take the free pawn. With our pawn attacking the knight, knight goes to f5, which is the best move as per computer analysis. So we exchange our queens, and if black captures the queen, now there are many other ideas that you can do. What you can do is playing bishop to g5 giving a check, and the next move you can try to push this pawn, promote to queen. You can also play the rook to d1 and play normal by developing all your pieces, connecting your rooks, and so here we all discussed about the two openings for white. Now we are going to look for two openings for black. In this position, white begins with d4, then comes knight to f6, which you can play. Now comes c4, the queen's gambit, then we play g6. This is the king's sentence setup. The main idea is playing bishop to g7 and preparing for castling the next move. Now comes knight to c3, promoting the e4 square, and in the next move white can begin with e4, controlling all these highlighted squares that you can see. Now comes bishop to g7, so comes e4. Now as I told you, it will be controlling these squares which are highlighted. So what you can understand, that all these squares are under white control, and white is completely playing amazing. Here comes d6. Now in this position, never forget to play d6, because many of the players, what they do, they stick for castling this move. This is the problem. Actually, white can begin with e5 and can attack your knight, which is a problem. So first play d6, then stick for castling. Now comes knight to f3, which is the most common move. So we castle, and then comes bishop to e2. Now in this position, what you can see that this is the king's Indian defense. Basically, we have seen that your king is completely safe. You have your knight developed, and in the next move, if you play carefully, actually, so you can win this game as well. Now in this position, what we must play is knight to a6. We can play knight to a6 and can push this pawn towards c5. Also, we can play rook to e8 and can push this pawn towards e5. And in this position, we are going to play knight b to d7. Actually, I have a trap in this position, so I play knight b to d7. Here, white plays castling, then we begin with c5. Now, why we play c5 in this position? Completely we can understand. First of all, we can see that we have created an open diagonal, which is a very easy point. Also, if white captures, then you can capture from the knight, and you can see that we have two center pawns, but white don't have. So you can also play bishop to g4, attacking this knight. You can bring this knight back and can develop this bishop attacking towards a deadly diagonal. You have two knights attacking towards the center pawn that you can see, which is a good advantage. And in this position, what you are going to see that they are going to play d5, blocking the way. So what you can do, play rook to e8, then comes bishop to f4, developing the bishop that you can see. Now comes knight to f8. We take back the knight. First of all, try to understand that we are developing the bishop at the same time. And development of your pieces is also important. So comes queen to t2. Main idea was actually that white want to bring the bishop over x6 to attack this bishop. Now in this position, we are going to play e6. And if white captures the pawn, then we capture from the knight. Now it is attacking the bishop. Also, white saw that there was a free pawn, and that was d6. So white becomes greedy and it captures from the bishop. Now in this position, if I tell you that this is an inaccuracy, in this position what we can begin is we can play knight to d4. Now once again you are going to be shocked that white will be capturing the knight and at last we will be losing one pawn. And in this position we lost one pawn, but we are going to win a minor piece also. How? In this position we take the pawn. Remember this pawn, this knight is protected by our rook. Also we have a bishop at g7 attacking the queen. So queen goes back. Now we capture the knight first of all, then it captures with the pawn, then we capture the free bishop. Now you can see you have two minor pieces and white only have one. So you can understand that King's Indian defense was a nice opening that you can play. Now we are going to look for the second opening, and that is the Pirc defense, which basically you can play against e4. Here comes d6, which is the Pirc defense, then comes d4. Actually, we allowed white to create the control on the center, so white took the control on the center. Now comes knight to f6, attacking towards the central pawn, so it is to be protected. Then comes knight to c3, protecting the pawn that you can see. Now we play g6, then comes knight to f3, bishop to g7, and then bishop to e2. Now we decide to castle. Don't you feel like you have seen this position before? This position is completely similar to King's Indian defense. And we reached the King's Indian defense setup. Now you know what to do. You can repeat the activity and you know how you can win the game. Anyways, going back, in this position, when we begin with knight to f6 attacking the pawn, I have seen many of the players, what they do is they play e5 in this position, attacking the knight. So this is completely a mistake since we can capture the pawn, white captures back, then we exchange the queen first, white captures the queen, then we play knight to g4, attacking both the pawns, creating a double attack. And if king goes to e1, protecting the check, so we capture the pawn. Now what you can see? You can see that you can develop your knight, your bishop by playing g6 in the next move and develop the bishop to g7 and can castle. The advantage comes that white don't have the ability to castle.